What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA rundown where Kevin Durant broke my heart last night. The Bucks gave me false hope, Tyler. I texted you Bucks University in the first half. What a terrible ending for Bucks backers, and boy, really got me questioning how much I know about the NBA when I took Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Mike Budenholzer against Kevin Durant. Tyler, what did you think last night? And the only thing that was disappointing for me is as a Bucks backer, I couldn't really enjoy what was historic all-time performance. I mean, it was just so good. You can't say enough on how good Durant was last night. So today's the day we give him his props. Start with you, Tyler. I mean, what did you think? All-time performance for your lifetime, probably, huh?
Oh yeah. He played all 48 minutes. He dominated every aspect of that game. And I know you're hurting from the loss spread, but we kind of knew it was coming. Remember the guy in the Discord earlier in the day said, "Is this one of them spots where we just push all the chips in on the Bucks?" And we both said no, because we don't really trust Bud to step on their neck, and we also know Durant's on the other side. So
yeah.
We seen what
you know
happened
what?
there.
I'd stayed off altogether, and I had already considered the series over in my mind. And then when Harden tried to get out there, I thought, hey, they're not gonna, they're going to be able to attack him. He's going to be a liability on both ends of the floor. And I felt I was right. His passing was fantastic, right? So maybe better just because their depth sucks so bad. But they got up to a big lead attacking him. I wish I would just stuck with the first quarter bet, though, and not the full game. So, Travis, I was tricked last night. I fell for it. Drew Holiday, maybe the best guy in the NBA, maybe not the best second option as a scorer. What did you think of the game last night?
So I was doing the PGA show, so I was on with JJ, and I didn't get to see all of the game. I saw some of it, but he was like, Nets are Nets are basically down too. And I was surprised to see them come back, because at first it was looking a little ugly. I didn't see that whole comeback. I watched the end of the game though, and KD was KD, right? And Giannis was Giannis, right? Harden was out there just getting posted up by him and waving people off, saying, I got this, I got him one-on-one. This is Giannis. I'm not scared. And Giannis didn't go down there and just bully him, right? Just typical Bucks kind of stuff. I'm not surprised. The things I was surprised about was I was surprised that James Harden was so ineffective and also played 46 minutes, right? Like that just didn't go hand in hand. Surprised was Jeff Green, right? Obviously, you don't expect a game like that from a guy like Jeff Green. It's obviously good to see him step up. He had a big game. KD playing all the minutes that he played. And yeah, if KD probably drops 49, 10, and 17, you probably don't win a basketball game, right? That's just kind of how it goes. He had an amazing game, and you just got to hope that now you can go back home to Milwaukee, get the job done, get to that game 7, and try and survive KD, not being the best player on the floor for one night and being able to suffocate him as best as possible. That's really what I think is going to happen here.
All right, JSU, victory lap time. You called it. You were right. Best dude on the floor. Travis is talking about them going back to Milwaukee. As a Bucks backer, my spirit is broken. Did they break the team last night? I think they're broken. Did you see Giannis after the game? Yeah, that's the best player in the world. He didn't even bother to try and be competitive with them.
What can he do? It's Giannis
Guard
against
him?
KD.
Not sit on Joe Harris.
Nothing he can do.
He could at least try.
He could have tried. He would have failed, like everyone else.
But wouldn't you feel better about you try and you fail rather than you just sit in the corner and let it happen?
Well, yeah, for sure. If you're the best player on the other team, you got to go step up and guard the best player that's, your opponent, the best player on that team. So, yeah, of course, from a fan perspective, even I'm not a Bucks backer, and even I, watching that game, was sitting back laughing, going, yeah, Giannis, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want the smoke. He doesn't want – even he knows that he couldn't do anything against KD. That's how bad it is. So I don't know what else
is this thing over? Is this thing
16
over?
16 free throw attempts. The dude dropped more than 40, so I was wrong there. I said 40.
Yeah.
He went for over 40. But it's just, this is what you get in the playoffs, right? The best players, the cream rises to the top. And what we saw was KD just saying, Harden's 0 for 8 from 3, 1 for 10 from the field. Clearly, what do you have? Only 3 free throw attempts. He clearly wasn't Harden. He wasn't attacking the rim as much. he wasn't 100%. That's fine. KD realized it right after the first quarter. Where did you see a few turnovers where KD lobbed the ball to Harden? Harden just had his back completely turned, and you could tell they were just could tell they were just off. There was one where Harden kind of did something similar to KD, and KD wasn't expecting the ball. So it was just they were off a little bit, and then towards the end, KD was just give me the damn ball, get out of my way, and we saw the best player in the league do that. And for whoever was saying that KD's not the best player in the league, I know it's just one game, but watch that game last night.
Who was saying that though?
There were people in the chat saying, I don't know if he's the best player in the league. Trust me, they were in the chat. Watch that game. I don't know what else to say. If you don't know.
Yeah, you know me, and I'm all big on my history and stuff, but that's an all-timer that goes down to me Jordan dropping 63 on Bird, right? Bird out-dueling Dominique Wilkins in 1988, and I know I'm dating myself, but I'm telling you, this is one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins going back and forth. It was on that level. He played all 48 minutes. It's just unbelievable. Give him his credit, and honestly, I just feel so stupid for doubting the guy, right? I don't even know what to do. Best scorer to walk the planet title. I got to agree with you. They got no answers.
Spread. What's interesting about this playoffs is, are you guys not feeling like it's just going to be I don't know who's going to win this finals because I feel like it's just whoever's team is the healthiest by the time it gets there is going to be the winner. We're starting to see now Kawhi's out for what did they say, the series or something like that?
I think he's done for the year. It's a torn ACL.
Chris Paul, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, they're saying ACL injury.
Yeah, okay. So, and then Chris Paul's, and he's out indefinitely for, I don't know, COVID-related issues. So, we're just kind of getting to a point where it's kind of getting silly that all these stars are just out. But
here's the thing, right? Let's give Durant the credit, right? Yesterday on this show, I said one guy can't do it on his own, right? I said LeBron didn't do it on his own, right? When his star fell down, they couldn't do it. Steph Curry, right? We watched him all year.
LeBron still carried that Cavs team that one year when it was Dellavedova.
No, I'm talking about the 2021 season. I'm talking about this season right now. My contention was that no one player can lead a team on its own. You need at least two stars, and Kevin Durant threw that out the window last night. He did it on his own. We say Jeff Green, right? But always some role player is going to step up. Harden did absolutely nothing, right? It was just Blake Griffin. What is he even doing
honest,
out there?
I think the Nets even thought that, right? That's why they brought Harden back for this game. The Nets even thought they knew KD needed some help. He got it from Jeff Green a little bit. I will say Jeff Green was pretty clutch, especially in the beginning of the game. He hit some big threes. Yeah. I think he went 4 for 4 from 3 in the beginning of the game where it was those are big threes because they were down a decent amount of points, and he was keeping them within that 10 to 12 point range for a good chunk of time where if he wasn't making those shots, they might have been down 20. It was that bad in the beginning.
It just hurt my heart from an idealist perspective. I like Giannis because he didn't want to go team up with other people. He tried to do it on his own, which no one does nowadays, right? Drew Holiday and James Harden are the exact opposite people, right? James Harden's just dropping money in strip clubs left and right. Drew Holiday's working with his church to feed homeless people and going to Mexico to build houses and stuff. So I think I let my heart get a little too involved in it. But let's jump into tonight. And Travis, we will start with you. This line in Philadelphia is out to 7. What do you think of this game? And is Joel Embiid revenge in full effect?
Oh, yeah. 7's a lot, right? For sure. I don't want to ignore that. It's tough for me, though, to back the Sixers. I just always struggle to back that team. Of course, at home, you can make tons of arguments to want to be on their side. I kind of want to just jump on the Hawks +7. I've been jumping on the Hawks for the most part, just whenever they have that huge amount of line that they're getting, just because they can easily lose this game, right? And you still are fine with the Sixers, and the Sixers are great at playing down to their competition. They always do. The question is, what do you think of Embiid here in this spot? I think it's a huge Embiid bounce back spot, right? Again, I struggle with some of these bets sometimes, especially Philly, where that 7, I feel like is too much where there could be a letdown. Why not just bet Embiid overs, right? I mean, Embiid is not going to shoot as bad as he did that in that last game. I expect a monster game from him. He's one of my favorite DFS guys, kind of like the Kawhi prop. Maybe instead of betting the Sixers, I just bet on like Embiid overs. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, the only way he doesn't go over is if he goes down with the knee injury, right? And the way this year's going, try what, 50%? I mean,
obviously, just the way today's going, that's the icing on the cake for today. If he goes
Tyler,
down.
break down this game for me. I do think Travis has the point. I wanted to get my little jokes off, but I do think he's got a great point there. Embiid overs might be safer than laying the -7. What's your breakdown of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I like that idea. I just think this is that spot where Philly does bounce back and just thrashes this team here. I mean, we can make the argument Atlanta should have won that game by 20 because they shot so bad. But do you think they're going to get the pace up against Philly again here in Philadelphia? Or do you think Philly's going to be able to slow the game down? Because that's what really won them that game. They tired Philly out in that last game, and by the second half, they were just dead. They couldn't make anything. And then that fourth quarter won't happen again here. So, I mean, I don't like the +7 with Atlanta because I could definitely see them losing by double digits. But, I mean, maybe we target a player performance double here.
All right.
I like that, Tyler. The more we talk about, like, I'm just gonna the Hawks +7. I'm not even doing. I'm just gonna look at the Embiid props and just like hit
like
the
over. If you wanted to back Embiid, you can get him to score 30+ points and then win the game at +130.
Okay,
his points prop is 30.5 anyway.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think I like that better. JSU, Tyler kind of talked about tiring them out. That was Clint Capella's quote after the game. Shout out to Travis, press conference guru here. But he said, hey, you tire Embiid out and he loses effectiveness. What did you think of that quote? And how bad is Joel Embiid going to come back and put it on him for him daring to open his mouth like that?
I mean, honestly, are we really going there for the one game that Embiid doesn't shoot well from the field and struggles and doesn't get calls that he probably normally gets most games, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, no, let's not go there. He wasn't tired out. I think he didn't have it that night. You know what I
don't
mean?
think he was 100% though. Yeah, it was like I was listening to a pod and they're saying 100.
He hasn't been 100% this entire series.
Right, but every single, like Tyler was saying, I mean, this is just like constant wear and tear. Like it can't be getting better as the series progresses, right? I mean, it would make sense by game 4 he's not as physically capable as he was in game 1.
I mean, I don't know. I still think he's fine. Like, I think he's good enough to dominate the Hawks. Like, I think that anyway. So I would have to see it again. Like, why are we, just because he had a couple, like, terrible plays where he tried to draw fouls and, like, it looked really bad because he fell that
it does, because when you're like 7 feet and you fall like that, when you get hit like a 6'10" guy, it does look bad.
It does look bad, but like he was grasping at straws at that point. Can we all agree on that? At least he was really trying to draw fouls.
No, I agree with you. But just my assertion here is I think that's the sign that he's more hurt than he's been letting on, and that it might have progressively got worse.
I mean, I think he knew he was struggling, and he was trying to get to the free throw line to the free throw line always helps those guys.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, I think Embiid's fine. I think he's going to put it on Clint Capella tonight. He's the best play, for the DFS slate for sure. And I think Philly wins. Going back to Philly, so I'm definitely.
Do you lay the 7 here? I think the number's perfect.
I mean, I don't know if I lay the. That's the tough point. I don't know if I lay the 7. 7 is.
I think they were coming in too short,
Fred.
And now they're right.
This number, right? I thought it was like. I think it's more like a 5 number, and you're getting it at 7. Like,
yeah.
That's
but
where.
Here's my worry, though, that you stay in front of the 5 the whole game, and then you foul yourself out of the way in the last 30 seconds. And Embiid does get to the foul line, and he is pretty good from the foul line. Like, give him credit there, right?
He's really good, from the foul line.
And Doc Rivers is a lot smarter than Mike Budenholzer, so we know that Ben Simmons won't be in the game. We can actually count on a coach that knows basketball there. So I'm tough on the game. I think that I think that 7 is about right. I think that Tyler and Travis have the right idea. Look at these props. Look at the player doubles. Let's give the books some credit. They're not going to put mistakes up all the time. Total is 224. Tyler, did you have a lean on the total? Do you see this game going over or under?
I lean under. I just think if with the way they ran that pace last game, I think Philly's just going to want to come in here and slow this game down and just methodically beat this team down.
Yeah.
So I love the under, and I also love Atlanta's team total under 109.5.
I agree with you on both ends. I do believe that the pace will slow down, and I do believe that Atlanta's role players are going to struggle. We're not going to see that same great shooting from the supporting cast from the Hawks tonight. Travis, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Hawks and Sixers still, right?
Yeah, we're on the under total.
Okay.
What do you think? Tyler and I like the
Mangone, you
under.
sleeping over there?
I'm reading the chat. I'm arguing with Bogart. He says Sam Van Gundy's a good coach, and oh gosh, it's bad. It's a bad take. You got to be able to adapt to your team. You can't be the coach. He said this is what bothered me. He said D'Antoni was awful with the Lakers and Knicks. Okay, let's use the outlier, really great coach that was clearly ahead of everyone's time. So I was just arguing with him about that. It's a bad take, but the under on the game. Let's see. Again, I'm not the biggest over under better. I'll say that. I guess you can make an argument that if they slow the pace down a bit and Embiid, actually tries to attack the basket more, and instead of taking these lame threes and stuff actually starts going in and they can get back on defense, yeah, the under is going to be better. Also, Hawks role players that hit those threes, that's probably not going to happen as much. So I think you do make some pretty good points there. And I think Philly likes to play at that more slower, methodical pace that they can control the game and just feed Embiid in the post and kind of get the job done. So I don't hate the under bet, but again, not something that I typically bet a lot.
All right, JSU, did you have any thoughts on the total?
Yeah, I agree with Tyler for sure that I think Philly comes in and slows this game down. I mean, especially with Embiid's knee, it makes no sense for them. Atlanta can't guard their half-court sets. When they try to double Embiid, they leave Seth Curry and all these Korkmaz wide open for shots. And Seth Curry's been really, really good from the field shooting wise, off the dribble, everything. He's been really good in this playoff stretch, both series so far, just shooting the basketball. And then if they don't, Embiid's just gonna go one-on-one with Clint Capella. So I think that's the way Philly has to play. I know Ben Simmons is better when he's pushing the pace, but I don't think it's the smart way to attack Atlanta is letting Ben Simmons. And if you watch that first quarter, Ben Simmons was getting the ball and going more, and they did have some success with that. But I think if you keep doing that, it's only going to hurt Embiid.
All right. I think that's a nice little breakdown there. So looks like we actually are more in agreement that this game doesn't go over than we are on a side. We did agree that we thought the books put up a nice number. And let's go on to the next game. First things first, we need to get this out of the way. Thank you to the Clippers organization, to Shams, and all these guys for getting the news out before we went on the air, so this handicap actually matters. Because how frustrated would I have been if we would have broken down this game at -2, and then we got the Kawhi Leonard moves afterwards. But for those who didn't hear, if you're just turning on, just catching right now, Kawhi Leonard out, torn ACL, most likely not back for the series. Clippers University, throw those tickets out the window. Too bad, too sad. We were having a lot of fun riding that train, and I was making fun with Tyler. But it looks like the end is near here. Tyler, I'm pretty sure that Utah wins straight up tonight. The question is, do they cover the -7?
Now, that's the big question here, is that big number change from 2 to 7. Doesn't that just scream they win this game by 5 and it falls right in the middle? But it's one of the things you look at it, too. It's where are they going to get their offense from? And who's going to calm this team down when things start to get hectic? Because it's not going to be Paul George.
Yeah.
This is where it all started, playoff P, Ghost and everything. We seen in the first 2 games of the series, he got to the line a lot, but the jump shot wasn't there. Now, the last 2 games, he made it rain from 3. I don't see that happening tonight. I don't see Marcus Morris putting up a good game tonight like he did in the last game either.
No, because Markieff won't go to Utah.
Yep. And I also see Utah's role players shooting a lot better at home. So, I kind of like Utah here, so I'd probably lay it if you had to pin me down to a side.
And I see you going with the PG slander. I see the chat going with the PG slander. And my take is this. Even if he drops 35 and 12, I still don't think they have enough to keep up. Travis, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the problem with the Clippers, right? They were already really thin, with Kawhi. I talked about it a ton now, these guys are going to be having to get a ton of minutes. Now you have to give some really meaningful minutes to some other guys, right? A Terrence Mann has to really play some meaningful stuff. I don't know, man. It just seems brutal to me. And like maybe they just decide to go a little bit bigger to try and like get someone else some minutes, but that'll play into their hand, and they don't want that, right? That'll just be a disaster. So I don't recommend that. I'm just trying to think through what on earth they're going to do. So it's really tough. Do you guys think that Kawhi's just done for good? Like, I mean, it wasn't a torn ACL. It was an ACL.
It says injury. ACL injury, but how many times do you see Kawhi when he bumps knees with somebody kind of just throw the ball off to the side, hobble off the floor, and go to the bench?
Oh,
Not very often.
Yeah,
he usually grabs at the knee for a second, and then he's like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, it's not good. And, man, I'm so frustrated by this series for sure because we're not going to get like the ending that I was hoping for. But it's hard not to be on the
As of last night, didn't it look like everything was set up for the Clippers? As Brooklyn won that game, and then you're like, oh, wait, but they're going to have KD and Paul George. I mean, Kawhi and Paul George to put on KD. If it's still the one-man band, which was what I saw, I don't see Harden becoming the old James Harden anytime soon. And now all their hopes are crushed. Boy, I feel bad as a Kings fan. I feel like I have the worst lot in life. But boy, being a Clippers fan's got to be rough.
I'm tilted spread because I gave 5 bets on Run Pure Bets yesterday. Went 5-0. But I wasn't able to.
What? How are we 21 minutes in and we're just hearing about this now?
I mean,
that victory lap. Give them out. What did you give out yesterday, Travis?
They were baseball and basketball. So I gave out the Bruce Brown under on the 10.5. Remember, DK had 10.5. They hung that, which I was like, give me that. I know it was -134. We took that. Took the under on Urias' strikeouts, over on Monta's strikeouts, under on Darvish's strikeouts, 7.5. And then Trevor Rogers just got there, the 6.5 under on that for strikeouts. So I put up 3 for today. So if you want to go subscribe and check those out, you can. But I did that and spread. I could not get one of the bets down. I think it was Darvish, wasn't on DK. And I wanted to have one of those parlays where I could win 4 figures for only putting up like $50. I wanted to, see if I could make that happen. And I felt good about the bets. So I threw in one more bet spread. And the bet I threw in was, Clippers to win the series. It's plus money. Like this will get it over the top, right? And now I'm sitting here not knowing what to do with it and very frustrated. But luckily for me, I got lucky. I was up in time to get the Jazz in at -3. So I got a great line on that one. But I don't see how the Clippers hang here. Like, I think it's going to be an absolute disaster for them tonight. Like, I still don't think this line is good. I think you just bet the Jazz and move on. I mean, yes, Donovan Mitchell, I did have concerns, and I don't think he has looked that right. But where Donovan Mitchell is at in this series, he ended up powering through the injury. He played pretty fine last game. As long as he doesn't get hurt, I just don't see how they can handle the Jazz because the way they defended him last game is they just let Mitchell kind of do his thing, right? And just be like, okay, outscore us. But you can't do that now with Kawhi being there, right? You're going to have to help out a little bit more on Donovan Mitchell. You just can't leave other guys on an island with him all game long and just take up all their energy. And Paul George is going to need to now sit in the corner more like Kawhi did. You need Paul George to kind of sit in the corner and have his energy for offense. So it's just going to be a disaster. I think the Jazz win this one pretty easily.
JSU, what do you think? -7. Are you laying it?
Yeah, so I wrote this up in the playbook today at Run Pure Sports. It's tough to trust a guy like Paul George, like especially late in games. So I could see this game going to, like, I could see this game staying somewhat close, but at the end of the game, are you really going to trust that? Like, that's when Kawhi, like, you get the ball in Kawhi's hands. Kawhi's not on the floor anymore. So PG would be like the next guy that would supposedly be that guy. And I just don't trust him. And so for that reason alone, and the fact that Utah has played way better at home. Like, in general, I thought Utah was going to win this game, this next game, Game 5, before the Kawhi news. So I'm definitely on the Utah side, and I'll take the 7 with Utah if I have to. But I think they win this game for sure. Could blow them out. Like, I would not be shocked if they just blew them out. Also, too, so his knee, it's not necessarily a torn ACL because they just said ACL injury.
Yes, but
so,
what that really means. I mean, maybe.
What else is there?
I mean, so he can sprain
it's not like
it.
It gets knocked out of place.
He can sprain it.
You can sprain an ACL?
Yeah, so if you sprain your ACL, apparently it's like a couple weeks injury, maybe a little more.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So,
okay, cool.
So either way, though,
ACL is like 18 months in my mind.
Either way, though, he's going to be out for this series for sure. Because either case, he's out. He's out for unless it's nothing that bad at all, and they're just being super precautious with him. But this is the playoffs, so I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think he actually did hurt it. It's just how bad. So either way, I think they're going to have a tough time getting past Utah if he is not healthy to go, which it looks like he's not going to be able to go for the rest of the series. So give me Utah.
So you're laying the 7?
Yep.
Yeah, by the way, if the Clippers win tonight, are we sold the NBA as the WWE? I mean, seriously, we saw the Nets win yesterday. If the Clippers win, it has to be.
Yeah, CP3 goes down with COVID, Kawhi's hurt, 2 coaches get fired, and then the Clippers top off the night with a W.
Why does the NBA even care about the Clippers? They have 17 fans.
Because
it's not like.
Well, I mean, a great storyline is the Clippers trying to. I mean, obviously they can't steal LA, right? But it's always a great storyline. The idea.
The problem is that the NBA wants as many stars in that last series as possible, and all these stars are going down. It's like
and let's be honest,
these teams got 1 star left.
And I'm Mr. Sports Entertainment guy, right? And I love to get on the refs and all these conspiracies. The refs and the NBA had nothing to do with the outcome of that game last night. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing to do with the refs. It had to do with Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant. That's it. Bar none. He's this much better than every other player. So, I mean, as much as I love to get in those refs conspiracies and I like to bring back 2002, which is, 20 years ago now. But, yeah. So,
and I have a question. Looking at the rest of the teams overall, I mean, as a team, is Utah the best team left?
I mean, Tyler's got a great point on the Suns. I mean, their wings are so much more athletic.
But what about CP3? I'm talking about CP3. I mean, they say indefinitely.
He's already been
vaccinated. Yeah, but that could be.
He'll probably be back by game 1.
JSU.
This is 1 game.
So Jalen Rose was on ESPN today, and he talked about it a little bit, and he said it was a 23-second clip that I listened to from @Espo, but Jalen basically said that CP3 is vaccinated, right? So that's gonna accelerate the process a little bit. And by the time we get there, he said he at most misses 1 game, at most. So of course, 1 game can matter, but
then I think that the 2 best teams left that are healthy are probably going to face each other in the Western Conference Finals outside of the Nets, the Suns and Utah. I think those are the 2 best full teams, not counting stars or anything, because KD's obviously the best. But
after watching last night, I don't see how you can't have the Nets as the clear-cut favorite.
I will say
on that side,
just to win the title in general of the how many teams we have left? 7. I mean, Tyler, they look to be by far.
Real quick, Tyler will love this. Tyler, I might grab it too here. I mean, Phoenix is plus 145 to win the West right now.
We already got him at plus 220.
Yeah. I mean, hit it again, Tyler. Hit it again. I don't know. I think it's good. So
my argument for that series when they play Utah is throw out the stars, throw out Booker, throw out CP3, throw out Ayton, throw out Mitchell, throw out Conley, throw out Gobert. Do you want Bogdanovich, Ingles, Kel Bridges, James Crowder, and Cam Johnson? Because I see 3 guys that can play defense on one side, and I see on the other side 1 guy, 3 guys that can shoot.
I mean, Tyler broke up there, but basically he's saying I got 3 athletic wings who can shoot versus 3 non-athletic wings who can shoot. So that's the way he's going there. Any breakdown on the total here for tonight? I hate to be a broken record. I'll take the under again. It's 220.5. JSU, do you agree with me?
On the under? Yeah, I'll take the under.
What do you think, Travis?
Yeah, I didn't even think about the over-under in this game. I would lean under, I guess, because I think the game could get lame. But and just you can see it blow out a bit, and then just the bum, not the bums are in, right, but the second unit guys, and just maybe Clippers call it off early to save their guys. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. So I would lean under, but not something making a best bet or anything.
All right, Tyler, if your internet's back, Eric Chang wants you to say that all again. The breakdown one more time.
I mean, that's a lot, but the 3, just throw out the stars, and you got Bogdanovich, Ingles, O'Neal, or Crowder, Bridges, Johnson. Which 3 do you want?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, and this is my point, is in the playoffs, you don't just throw out the stars, because the stars are what are going to finish the games.
But one of
Suns,
Utah's is going to be nullified right off the bat.
But take the Suns in that last series. What did we all see? We saw CP3 in the end, multiple games, not just one game, too, by the way.
Yeah,
multiple
it was
games.
2 to 3 games.
Yeah, it was 2 to 3 games where in the fourth quarter, he was like, give me the friggin' ball. And he was dominant. He was the best player on the floor for that period of time, multiple games in that series. We're seeing it with Durant. Like Mitchell, I'm telling you right now, like we're going to see it with these guys where it's like at the end, I think the question is more, who do you trust the most? Donovan Mitchell or CP3? Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert. Like
that second name you said is going to get abused in pick and roll.
So there we go. When you say those names, you're like, Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert, like, okay, the Suns might have a leg up here. I will say, overall, though, I think Donovan Mitchell might be the best player. But
I was just going to ask you that. So, hey, let me just go into this because it just pretty much correlates. So yesterday, third team NBA, I didn't think Kyrie Irving deserved it. I thought either Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker should have taken his place. Assuming that I'm right, who would you think deserved that spot more? Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker? Start with you, JSU.
I would say Donovan Mitchell, just from the standpoint that I think I think if you take Donovan Mitchell off that team, they might be just a little worse than if you took Devin Booker out of the Suns team. Yeah.
Best player, best team, and no CP3. That's why I'm picking Mitchell. What do you think, Travis?
I lean taking Mitchell there too. Also, I want to mention too, like am I like the only one who's skeptical of like his health? Like he hasn't sounded right with like, the way I'm injured, but like when I fall, it's just I got to watch how I fall. It's like, I mean, well, you fall a lot during the game, Mitchell. Like,
I didn't think he should have even been in there for that last game. It's like they were going to lose anyways. Why didn't they let him rest?
Yeah, I guess
Mangone. So I think it's interesting you say that because I was wondering if like I know that Utah shoots a ton of threes in general. So I'm not saying it from that perspective, but if you look at Donovan Mitchell's game, I mean, 15, 12, 9, and 15 3-point attempts. Does it seem to you when you watch him play in this series that like he's kind of at certain points relying more on that 3-pointer and less on like his athleticism at times?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm way more worried about his his usage is so high, right? So like DFS wise and like prop stuff, it's a little different. But my point I'm making is over the course of a series, I just wouldn't be shocked if at some point it had an issue. And I'm still thinking over that like Suns bet right now. I think that's where my mind's at. And also, when is Conley coming back? Do we know? Because that seems very unknown as well.
He was already announced out for tonight. So
yeah, he was just announced out like before we jumped on here.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's for the next series, and that's where my head is at. But I love Donovan Mitchell though, and I do think he was the better one over Booker.
For those of you that were wondering if Reggie Miller was right and the Nets were going to rest all their guys, James Harden is available for Thursday.
Reggie Miller and his really sharp take is not going to get there.
I could have put out a tweet that I said that the Bucks were going to win and Bud is the best coach in the NBA, and it wouldn't have been as stupid as that tweet that Reggie Miller put out. Tyler, would you agree that Donovan Mitchell should have got the spot over Booker?
Yeah. I mean, Mitchell had the better season. He had the better record. Had one of the best point guards of this era next to him, controlling the team while he was just able to score. So, I mean, you got to give Mitchell that nod.
All right, and JSU, do you have any friends in the local area that watch this show?
I don't know. Maybe.
I want to make you persona non grata in Boston. I personally believe that Jason Tatum should have got the spot over Jimmy Butler. Your thoughts?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know you're a big Butler guy, so I figured.
Yeah, I'm a big Jason Tatum guy. Like my first show ever in like fantasy sports or whatever, I still remember it. I proclaimed Jason Tatum. This was probably a couple of years ago now. I proclaimed Jason Tatum in 5 years to be a top 5 player in the NBA. Where like no one, I don't think anyone would have agreed with that back when he was a rookie. I think this was back when it was like his rookie year or the year after. I can't remember. I think it was the year with Kyrie, it was rookie year, but either way, I proclaim that. People did not agree with me. That was a very hot take then, and I think now we're starting to maybe say, okay, he's close to being there.
And as these stars age out, like he's just set to take the mantle. He does so much on the defensive end as well. He's not just a one-way player. So, I agree with you there. I was just trying to stir the pot a little bit. But anyways,
West Coast Gems. If Campaign does that again, the Oscar performance, and gets someone thrown out, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. How is nobody talking about that, by the way? I watched the video again where he's just curled up, like, whoo. And was that Jokic's brothers, like, yelling?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that in the video?
Those were his two brothers.
My God, those are big boys. Woo! That's not a family I want to fight with.
You see the old lady security guard standing there with their hands up like this, just like, stay in the stands, please stay in the stands.
Yeah, I did see that. That was awesome. And these guys are just massive, just monsters.
All right. Well, that's some great NBA discussion, and we got about perfect timing here. So now we're here. Gregory Russo's in the chat. Here's your segment, Greg. Best bets. Tyler, start with you. Best bet of the day, side, total, or prop?
We're going to go to prop in this one. I think Bojan Bogdanovic rebounds after shooting bad in LA. Mm-hmm. His threes prop is over 2.5 at plus 150. I love that. His last 3 games at home, he's hit 3 threes. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get a little fancy too and play another one of the player performance doubles, if he hits one more 3 and gets you 4 of them, 4 plus 3s and Utah wins plus 600.
I love it, Tyler. I love it. And I can make some jokes about Utah University, right? We'll go learn some music. Travis, on to you. And just because you guys will not be here with me tomorrow, the Milwaukee cost me way too many bucks game is on the table for you if you want to give your best bet in that game as well. So, Travis, best bet for today or tomorrow's side total prop?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do my best to stay away from that Bucks one. I mean, I guess you go back to the Bruce Brown one. I don't know what the prop is though yet, right? I can't give that. That they don't have those up actually right now. I'll go with the Embiid one. I like the Embiid over 30.5 points here. That'll be the prop that I ride with tonight. So we'll go with Embiid over on the 30.5 points. And my lean is the Utah side for the -7 if you want like a side total, but not the best bet. Right? We'll go with the Embiid one.
All right, you JSU, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so my favorite game to target is Utah -7. I'm going to take them. And then I think there's some value if you're looking at player props. I don't love the Clippers, but I just think there's some value on some of these overs in points. Like Marcus Morris is going to take more shots. His points prop on DK is 13.5. That seems kind of low. I think Nick Batum might
The only
might
thing
get
I
a
worry
little
about
more.
Morris is he's bad on the road. Like his home road splits are like terrible.
Yeah, but he's also going to get more of the offense. If I could give him, I don't know, 5 more shots, I'd take my chances at 13.5. And I think that's reasonable. I don't think they have many other places to go offensively. PG can
Reggie
only
Jackson?
Well, Reggie's the other one that I think is interesting too. His is a little higher, 16.5, but I do think, that's an interesting prop to look at as well. Those are the 2 guys. I think those 2 guys with PG, I think all 3 of them need to have decent scoring games for this team to keep this game even relatively close.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic work there. I'm going to go ahead and take the under and the Hawks and the Sixers games. I just don't trust the Hawks role players to get it done on the road. I think we see the slower pace and the friendly whistle for Mr. Embiid, which is going to lead to a potential blowout, leading us back to Game 6. Thank you guys, everybody, for hanging out. Of course, JSU will be doing the final countdown over on runpuresports.com. So go ahead, sign up to have access to that. And they're doing a great job. They're mixing the Major League Baseball and the NBA, taking your questions on both. I mean, it's just fantastic work. I can't even handicap two sports at the same time, and he's out here going ahead and giving you all the best 2v2 information. So you do definitely want to be a part of that. And you get Holden hosting too, which isn't a bad deal. So head on to runpuresports.com. Use the promo code HEATER25, RPS HEATER25. But what I would suggest is the promo code GetBets. You'll have access to our plays too. You'll have access to the plays that Tyler was talking about, all the articles, and all the great times. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be back tomorrow to talk about the team that broke my heart. And we will probably have Title and Hoop with us. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out.